Tisa we are coming to this weekend, and it's very much here at the beginning, at the start of the Torah, Nevi'im and Ketuvim, also popularly known as the Tanakh. I've got it ready over here. I was just reading over some various different great ideas, and a lot of great ideas actually you can find, especially online. And I want to share something over from Rav Zev Leff, the great rabbi. And he states over that following Hashem's promise not to destroy the Jewish people after, let's say, their transgression of the golden calf, Moses requested that God make known to him the qualities of divine mercy. In response, Hashem showed Moses a prophetic vision in which he was wrapped in a talit as a shliach tzibur, as a chazan, a cantor, while reciting the 13 attributes of divine mercy, the Yud Gimel Midot HaRachamim. And you see this very much in the tractate of Rosh Hashanah on page 17, Bet. Now Hashem informed Moshe that whenever the Jewish people, God forbid, would sin in the future, they should recite the 13 attributes and he will forgive them. Moshe subsequently will employ these 13 attributes during the second and third 40-day periods on the mountain of Sinai, which culminated with atonement on Yom Kippur, naturally the Day of Atonement. Now there's the famous Rav Yehuda inside the Talmud, inside the Gemara, adds that a covenant, a brit, exists concerning these 13 attributes and guaranteeing their effectiveness forever. The famous Brisker Rav, as they call him, explained that all the mercy that Am Yisrael, Klal Yisrael, would require until the final redemption was, as it were, deposited into an account at that specific point in time, to be withdrawn when necessary. Now today, writes Rabbeinu Bachia, we are without, obviously, the Holy Temple, the Bet HaMikdash, without a high priest, the Kohen Gadol, without the korbanot, the sacrifices, to aid in, let's say, atoning our transgressions. All that is left is the ability to invoke these 13 attributes of divine mercy in our tefillot, in our prayers. Though we do not understand the true nature of these midot, these characteristics, and we lack the perception of how they affect the heavenly realms, still they remain the key with which to open the gates of mercy in every generation for both the community and the individual. There are two basic opinions as how the 13 attributes work. Now, according to the Tzror Hamor in Reishit Chochmah and that famous Al-Sheikh, the mere recitation of these attributes is not going to be enough. One must accompany their recitation with action by emulating these activities in his relationship with his fellow man. Now, the famous great rabbi, Rabbi Moshe Cordovero, in the first chapter of his famous book, the Tomer Devorah, gives guidance as to how to integrate these attributes into one's interpersonal relationships. For this reason, says that Ma'or Vashemesh, these divine attributes are only recited in a quorum of 10 people, a minyan. It is difficult for any one individual to embody and apply all of these attributes in his personal life. However, among a congregation at Tzibur, all of the attributes can be found. Now, the prophetic vision of God wrapped in a talit relates to this need to emulate his attributes by reminding us, friends, of our chiyuv, our obligation to perform all the mitzvot. The talit hints to the fact that one must clothe himself in these attributes and not merely recite them. Now, the famous Ibn Ezra is going to come in, weigh in here and ask why we wear a talit gadol only during tefillah, prayer. Would it not be more logical to wear a reminder of Hashem's mitzvot when engaged in our mundane pursuits? That's what we say. Now, the wearing of a talit itself addresses a danger that one will mistakenly think that the words of prayer are enough to effect divine mercy. The talit reminds us that lip service alone is not effective. One must live and fulfill that which his prayers represent. Now, the second line, according to Rav Zev Leff's opinion, Shlita, it says, for example, Seda la derech and Bnei Yisachar. These wordings over here views recitation of the 13 divine attributes as effective by itself. They point to the fact that the first 3 attributes, according to many opinions, and proper names of Hashem, which do not lend themselves to emulation. 2 questions must be addressed according to the opinion that the mere recitation is effective. First of all, friends, how can mere recital of these words be effective? And if it can, how can we reconcile this to the fact that these attributes are often recited without any noticeable results? Now, in comes the Maharal, and he's going to answer the first question. Even if the recitation is sufficient, he writes, it must be with concentration, intention, and understanding. This is hinted to by the wrapping of the talit over one's head. The talit signifies concentration and the banishment of outside distractions. The recitation of these attributes creates an eitratzon over here, a period of favor and grace brought about by recitation of the divine attributes. And this is what the Malbim actually brings down. Now, in this respect, the heavenly kingdom patterns itself after the earthly kingdom. The periods of divine favor and grace parallel those times when an earthly king grants pardons not mandated by the law. And this is what the Nitzir brings down. There are, says the famous Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, also popularly known as the Ramchal, 2 types of divine providence, in which Hashem has, as it were, subjugated himself to a system of reward and punishment dependent on man's conduct, and another where God acts independent of man's worthiness. Now, friends, we can elucidate this last idea as follows. The entire creation was designed so that God could shower good on man, the ultimate good being the experience of the divine presence. To that end, God created a physical world in which man can earn this reward and develop his relationship with Hashem through both Torah and mitzvot. At the same time, Hashem created an intricate system of reward and punishment through which his kindness is funneled. Under normal circumstances, chesed, kindness, outside the system would be detrimental to a man, for it would suggest to him that justice does not exist and one can receive good without deserving it. But that would obscure recognition of God. However, there are times when the application of justice would permanently impair kindness and thus place the entire purpose of creation in jeopardy. At such times, Hashem chooses to let us know that he exists by showering upon us undeserved kindness beyond our understanding. But to receive this undeserved, let's say, the benefit platters of this, we must first recognize that this mercy and kindness emanates from God and is not an indication, God forbid, of a random universe and refutation of God's control over the world. Hence the necessity to recite these attributes with intention and concentration to bring about this period of favor. Although there is a covenant, that the recitation of these attributes is always effective, this depends, according to the first opinion, on our emulation of these attributes, and according, over here, to the second opinion, on their being said with concentration, intention, and understanding. Though a proper recitation of the divine attributes is always effective, according to the famous Vilna Gaon, the genius of Vilna, sometimes the effect only results in mitigation of the divine decree, not its complete annulment, as this brought down by the Tzeder Ladera. This is why we sometimes fail to see the effect of the recitation. We are now obviously in the midst of tough times in Klal Yisrael. Obviously, we're in a war at the moment against Iran. We hope we're going to win very, very quickly and unequivocally. And it's a time in which we need divine mercy. Let us attempt to recite, learn, and live these divine attributes of mercy, and thereby fulfill all these various different opinions she taught, and that we partake of the abundant wellsprings of divine mercy already prepared for us, an effective period of favor and grace. And this was actually brought down over here for the Short Vault website by Rabbi. It was written by Rabbi Zeb Leff, and they actually do state over here. I think they gave thanks to Article Metzora Publications for providing it to a specific channel of Shema Yisrael, also to provide this in of itself. So very, very interesting, friends. We are going in over here to Shabbat, Parshat Ki Tisa. Here we're in the heart now of the book of Shemot. So I think on that note, we're going to wish you all a Shabbat Shalom, and be well. Watch your space for more great content. And remember, there's so much good Baruch Hashem is coming with these different, let's just say, we bring about the divine attributes of Hashem, the 13 attributes, and we have to learn about it, we have to read it, grasp it, and just the importance within regards to it. And Shabbat is also given, just to add another interesting insight, Shabbat's given so that we can learn toil in Torah, especially if we are not learning the entire time. So we must over here just get imbued in Torah and mitzvot and great things also, which is let's just say very, very important in of its own right. So over here, and I want to wish this for Refuah Shlema for Igal Melech ben Elisheva Rut, or Igal ben Elisheva Rut, for a full Refuah Shlema and just huge abundance of brachot and blessings in this world. So wishing all a Shabbat Shalom, and take care, and thanks for watching, friends.